In this video, we are going to briefly discuss sources of criminal law as well as look at what we hope to gain from punishing offenders. Before we get started, it's important in the study of criminal law to understand what a crime is. So a crime is that conduct which has been prohibited by law, but also punishes an offender if they break the law. Oftentimes you think of conduct that is wrong or immoral, but if there's no law preventing someone from doing that, then it may just be classified as deviant, but not actually criminal. An example of that would be screaming out in church. Obviously, that is not illegal, but it's something that would be frowned upon by our society. So again, to recap, crime must be listed as an action that is prohibited, but also it has to list out what, if a person breaks that law, what they can expect their punishment to be. In North Carolina, we have the North Carolina General Statutes, and these are the laws for our state. When we're looking at murder in the first and second degree, it says that a person who kills another person by poison or lying in wait, imprisonment, starving, torture, or by any other kind of willful, deliberate, and premeditated killing, or which shall be committed in the perpetration or attempted perpetration of any arson, rape, or a sex offense, robbery, kidnapping, burglary, or other felony may be deemed to be murder in the first degree. In North Carolina, we have what's called the felony murder rule. Felony murder means that if a person is in the process of committing a felony and someone dies in the process of the commission of that felony, then the offender may be charged with murder. Now, oftentimes people will argue this and say, well, they didn't mean to do it, so they shouldn't be held responsible. The general statute doesn't make exceptions for people who didn't mean to do it. If you're committing a felony and your felony ends up costing someone their life, you may be charged. So to use for my example, I want to take you back to May 21st of 2018. Trooper Bullard was conducting a traffic checkpoint near Interstate 77 in Yadkin County, North Carolina, with other troopers. And Dakota Witt, over on the left, was coming up to that checkpoint. He was known to law enforcement, and for whatever reason, he decided not to stop at the checkpoint. Not only did he not stop, he sped through it. So he didn't try to go around it to go back the other way. He just blew past these officers that are standing in the road trying to conduct a traffic checkpoint. Of course, the troopers got in their vehicle and chased him. Trooper Bullard was one of those that was involved in the chase, and in the process of chasing him down this interstate at, I think it was 11:30 or 12 o'clock at night, it was dark, Trooper Bullard's car wrecked, and when it wrecked, it burst into flames, and Trooper Bullard died in that wreck. Dakota Witt never stopped. He kept on going, and ultimately he was caught, and he was charged with felony murder as one of his charges. He had several charges to come down. His reason for not stopping at the checkpoint was that he didn't want to go back to jail because he had an outstanding FTA warrant. FTA means failure to appear. He had an outstanding warrant for already not going to court, and he didn't want to go to jail that night. So he put everyone's lives in danger so that he wouldn't have to go sit in jail for an evening. There was a lot of uproar when this first came out from those who, I guess, they felt sorry for Dakota Witt. They said there's no way he should be charged with murder. He didn't mean to do it. It's not his fault that the trooper wrecked his vehicle. And I very strongly disagree with that. The district attorney of Surrey County has disagreed with that. And he's been charged with felony murder. And the reason being is that when he made his decision to willfully speed away from that checkpoint and to travel at a high rate of speed down an interstate, he put other motorists and also the Highway Patrol's lives in jeopardy. And so he's going to answer for that now. His girlfriend at the time who was actually the owner of the vehicle, her name is Michaela Harrison, and she has since been charged as well. She's not been charged with murder, but she's been charged with felony aid and abet second-degree murder, and also accessory after the fact, presumably for helping him hide the vehicle and helping him not get caught by the police when they were looking for him. So what we're left with at this point, and I'm recording this in December of 2018, Michaela and Dakota and another young lady that was riding in the vehicle, Mona Mullins, they all are still awaiting trial. Their next court date is February the 13th, 2019, where they may get it continued or they may stand trial at that point or take a plea deal. But either way, Trooper Samuel Bullard is no longer here, and his fiance has passed her wedding day that she was supposed to get married and is not, due to 3 people that were involved in drug activity who chose to make a really bad decision. So I want to show you what the statute says about felony murder, and it says that if you, like I've already said, if you're committing a felony and someone dies in the process of it, then you're going to be charged with felony murder. So when you see these cases in the news and people may make the statement that, well, so-and-so or Dakota Witt didn't intentionally cause the death of, it doesn't matter. If you rob a bank and you go in with a gun and one of the tellers has a heart attack and dies, it is the same thing. If not for your actions, that teller wouldn't have had a heart attack and passed away. And it's always up to the district attorney if they want to prosecute that, but in this case, it's a very wise decision. So why do we as a society punish offenders? When you think about these laws that we have, we say it's illegal, but what are we hoping to get from the actual sentence that is going to be carried out? One of those goals is rehabilitation. We want to make the wrongdoer a contributing member of society. If we send them to prison and when they learn a vocational trade or a technical trade while they're in there and they get out and can get a good job or just any job that'll pay them so that they don't have to go back to a criminal lifestyle, then they've been rehabilitated. We've given them the tools to be successful. Another goal of punishment is incapacitation, meaning we want to take the person out of society so that they can't commit another crime. That's going to be the case with Dakota Witt. If he is convicted of these charges, he's going to be sent to prison, obviously, due to the nature of them. And it's rightfully so that he can't jeopardize the lives of other people. And then you finally have deterrence. And there's 2 different types of deterrence. There's general deterrence and specific deterrence. And general deterrence basically says if I punish this person with this severe punishment, it will cause other people to not want to commit this crime. So for example, I know that the punishment for murder is, if you're convicted of first-degree murder, you can be sentenced to death. Well, most of us don't want to be sentenced to death. We're not going to commit murders. Not only because of the punishment, but because obviously it is the wrong thing to do, and most of us don't want to take another human being's life. So maybe that wasn't a good example, but it was an example nonetheless. But then you also have specific deterrence, and that's based on the idea that the punishment of the criminal will deter that specific criminal from committing another crime later on. I kind of got a comical example of this, even though it wasn't a crime. I can recall when I was in the 8th grade, I decided that it might be fun if me and my friends skipped school. Of course, I wasn't a very good troublemaker, so my parents found out, obviously, and I got disciplined pretty harsh that night. And I remember thinking that I'm never going to do this again because I don't ever want to go through this twice. And it helped. I didn't skip school anymore. So that's specific deterrence, where most rational people will say, okay, you know what? I don't like what I'm having to do or how I'm having to repay society. So I don't think I want to do this again. So I hope that you are able to keep up with the case of Trooper Bullard. The trial is going to happen probably in 2019. And let this be a lesson to all drivers that when you see blue lights, you need to obviously stop. There's time to sort out going to jail, but it's never worth risking the life of someone who is only out there trying to do their job to keep North Carolinians safe.